There is a quiet but powerful truth about human attention. When someone repeatedly reaches out to you without an obvious reason, it often means your presence lives in their thoughts more than they admit. People rarely interrupt their own day unless something or someone has already crossed their mind. A message that seems simple, a short conversation that begins without a clear purpose, or a casual check-in during a busy day can reveal far more than dramatic gestures ever could. The important thing is not how impressive the message is, but how naturally and consistently it appears. When someone chooses to open a conversation with you again and again, it shows that your name surfaces in their thoughts during ordinary moments. Perhaps he sees something interesting and immediately thinks about sharing it with you. Perhaps he simply wonders how your day is going. These small decisions show that you are part of the background of his thinking. Attention works like a quiet habit. The mind drifts toward what it values. When you become someone he regularly contacts without needing a specific reason, it suggests that his thoughts have begun to circle back to you throughout the day. What makes this sign subtle is that the messages themselves might appear ordinary. They may not be emotional or dramatic. They might be simple questions, short updates, or light conversations, but the pattern is what matters. Consistency reveals the truth behind intention. A person who rarely thinks about someone will only reach out when necessary. A person who thinks about someone often will find natural moments to reconnect. In this way, communication becomes a reflection of attention rather than obligation. Over time, you may notice that these conversations feel effortless rather than forced. They appear naturally in your day because they are appearing naturally in his mind. This quiet rhythm of contact is often one of the earliest and clearest signs that someone is thinking about you far more often than they openly say. One of the quietest yet most meaningful signs that someone is thinking about you often appears in the way they remember the small details you share. In everyday conversations, people mention many things in passing: a favorite food, a place they enjoy visiting, a story from childhood, or even a small frustration from the week. Most listeners hear these things and move on because the information does not stay in their minds for long. But when someone frequently thinks about you, those small details tend to remain with them. Days later, sometimes even weeks later, he might bring up something you once mentioned casually. He might ask how an event went that you spoke about briefly, or remember a preference you shared in a simple conversation. This kind of memory is rarely accidental. The mind naturally holds on to information connected to people who matter to us. When someone remembers your small stories or personal preferences, it usually means your words did not disappear when the conversation ended. They stayed somewhere in his thoughts, quietly revisited from time to time. That is why these moments can feel surprisingly meaningful. You may notice him referencing something you almost forgot you said. In that moment, it becomes clear that he was paying attention in a way many people do not. It reveals a deeper level of interest, because remembering details requires mental space. It means your conversations were not simply passing moments, but experiences his mind returned to later. The beauty of this sign is that it often appears naturally. He does not need to make a grand display of affection or dramatic statements. Instead, his memory does the speaking. When he remembers something small that mattered to you, it shows that your voice remained present in his mind even after you went your separate ways. Over time, these moments create a quiet sense of connection. You begin to notice that he listens carefully, not just to respond, but to understand. And when someone consistently remembers the little things about you, it is often because you occupy a steady place in their thoughts long after the conversation ends. There is another quiet signal that often reveals when someone thinks about you more than they openly show. It appears in the way he responds when you share something meaningful about your life. Many conversations in daily life move quickly. People listen just enough to reply and then shift the focus back to themselves or to another topic. But when someone frequently thinks about you, your words tend to hold a different weight for him. When you talk about something personal, whether it is a challenge, an idea, or a moment that mattered to you, he does not rush past it. Instead, he becomes more attentive. His responses feel slower, more thoughtful, and more present. This happens because your experiences are not just passing information to him. They are pieces of a person he has already been thinking about. When someone carries thoughts of you during the day, your feelings and opinions naturally become more important to them. You may notice that he asks questions that show genuine curiosity rather than polite interest. Instead of giving a quick response and moving on, he wants to understand what you meant, how you felt, or why something mattered to you. This type of attention is difficult to fake because it requires patience and emotional focus. People invest that level of listening only when the person speaking holds real significance in their mind. It is not about dramatic reactions or exaggerated concern. In fact, the most genuine form of this sign often feels calm and steady. He simply gives you space to express yourself and stays engaged with what you are saying. Over time, this pattern reveals something important. When someone listens deeply, it often means your inner world matters to them. They are not just hearing your words, they are thinking about them. After the conversation ends, those thoughts may continue to stay with him. Your ideas, your experiences, and even your small reflections become things he quietly processes later. This kind of attention shows that your voice carries influence in his mind. And when a person consistently treats your thoughts with that level of care, it is often because you already occupy a meaningful place in their daily thinking. Sometimes the clearest sign that someone is thinking about you appears in the simple way he includes you in everyday conversations. It does not arrive as a dramatic confession or a big emotional moment. Instead, it shows up quietly in ordinary dialogue. He might mention something he saw during the day that reminded him of you. It could be a song, an idea, a place, or even a random moment that made him think you would find it interesting. These comments may seem casual on the surface, but they often reveal a deeper mental habit. When a person regularly connects daily experiences with you, it usually means your presence is already part of his internal thinking. His mind naturally associates certain moments with you because you appear in his thoughts, even when you are not physically there. You might notice this when he shares something small and says it made him think of you. It could be a book you once mentioned, a topic you enjoy discussing, or something related to your personality. The important part is not the size of the moment, but the connection behind it. People do not usually link everyday experiences to someone unless that person already occupies space in their thoughts. When this happens repeatedly, it suggests that you have become a familiar reference point in his mind. His day is moving forward, but at different moments, your presence quietly enters his thinking. This type of behavior often feels natural rather than intentional. He may not even realize how often he does it. The mind works through association, and when someone is frequently thinking about a person, ordinary events start to trigger reminders of them. Over time, these little connections create a pattern. You begin to notice that he often shares things with you because they reminded him of you first. That pattern reveals something important. It means your presence exists not only in direct conversations, but also in the spaces between them. And when someone's daily experiences repeatedly lead their thoughts back to you, it is often a quiet sign that you are already part of the rhythm of their mind. Sometimes the sign that someone thinks about you often becomes visible in the way their attention shifts when you are around. The change is usually small, almost unnoticeable at first. He may still act calm and behave in a normal way, yet there is a slight difference in the way he focuses on you. People naturally give more attention to individuals who occupy their thoughts. When a person has been thinking about you during the day, your presence tends to stand out more clearly once you are near. You might notice that he listens more carefully when you speak, maintains stronger eye contact, or becomes a little more aware of your reactions during the conversation. These actions are not exaggerated or dramatic. In fact, they often appear very natural, but they reveal a deeper level of mental engagement that does not usually happen with everyone. What makes this sign meaningful is that attention is closely connected to interest. When someone thinks about another person regularly, their mind becomes familiar with that person's voice, expressions, and behavior. As a result, when you enter the room or join the conversation, his awareness naturally sharpens. He may notice small changes in your tone or mood more quickly than others do. Even during group conversations, he might quietly direct more of his focus towards you without making it obvious. This kind of attention does not require him to say anything special. His behavior simply reflects that your presence matters to him. Over time, you may also notice that he seems more present in conversations with you compared to how he interacts with others. He may respond thoughtfully, pause to listen carefully, or give you his full attention even when other distractions exist. These moments reveal that your presence holds significance in his mind. The reason is simple. When someone frequently thinks about you, the mind becomes naturally drawn to you in real-life situations as well. That attention is not forced. It is the result of familiarity created through repeated thoughts. And when a person consistently shows this quiet focus whenever you are around, it often suggests that you have already become someone important within their daily thinking. Another subtle sign that someone often thinks about you becomes visible when you are not around. Absence has a quiet way of revealing the value of a person's presence. When someone rarely thinks about another person, a gap in communication or a few days of silence usually goes unnoticed. Life continues without much change. But when someone frequently carries thoughts of you, your absence tends to stand out in a gentle but noticeable way. He may casually ask where you have been or mention that he has not heard from you in a while. The tone may remain relaxed, almost ordinary, yet the question itself carries meaning. It shows that your presence has become part of his routine awareness. These moments are rarely dramatic. He might simply say that things felt quieter without your messages, or that he wondered what you had been busy with. Sometimes it appears in the way he resumes conversation with a certain ease or quiet relief once you reconnect. What this reveals is not dependency, but familiarity. When a person becomes part of someone's daily thoughts, their absence creates a small space that the mind notices. The routine of communication changes slightly, and that difference becomes visible. This is why he may check in or ask about your day after a period of silence. The question itself is simple, yet it shows that he became aware of the gap your absence created. Over time, this awareness forms a pattern. You may notice that when communication pauses for a while, he is often the one who brings the connection back, not in a dramatic or urgent way, but in a natural and calm manner. This quiet return reveals that your presence has become familiar to him. The human mind pays attention to what it values, and when someone frequently thinks about you, the rhythm of interaction becomes meaningful. When that rhythm pauses, even briefly, it becomes noticeable. His small efforts to reconnect reflect that you remained in his thoughts, even during the moments when you were not actively speaking. And sometimes, those simple moments of noticing your absence reveal more than grand gestures ever could. Another quiet sign that someone thinks about you often can be seen in the way he shows interest in your goals and personal progress. In many conversations, people speak briefly about their plans, ambitions, or things they hope to achieve. These topics are shared casually, and often the listener acknowledges them politely before the discussion moves on. But when someone frequently thinks about you, those ambitions tend to stay in his awareness. He does not treat your goals as temporary conversation topics. Instead, he remembers them and occasionally returns to them later. He might ask how something is going that you once mentioned, or show genuine curiosity about an idea you were excited about. These questions may appear simple, yet they reveal that your life continues to exist in his thoughts even after the conversation ends. This kind of attention shows that he sees you as more than someone he talks to occasionally. Your direction, your interests, and your hopes begin to matter to him in a quiet but meaningful way. For example, if you once spoke about learning a new skill or working towards something important, he may bring it up again later without you reminding him. That moment reveals something deeper. It shows that he remembered not only your words but also the importance behind them. People rarely keep track of another person's ambitions unless that person holds a place in their mind beyond ordinary interaction. Over time, this behavior creates a sense that he is mentally invested in your journey. He may share encouraging words, mention something that could help you, or simply listen with genuine attention when you talk about your progress. None of this requires dramatic gestures or exaggerated praise. The meaning lies in the consistency of his interest. When someone repeatedly remembers and supports the things that matter to you, it suggests that your life has become part of their mental landscape. Your goals are no longer just your own thoughts. They have quietly entered his thinking as well. And when a person continues to care about where you are going, even when the topic is not immediately present, it often means you occupy a steady place in their mind. One of the most subtle signs that someone often thinks about you can be felt in the natural comfort that exists when the two of you interact. Comfort is something that develops gradually, and it usually grows when a person has spent time reflecting on someone and becoming familiar with their personality. When someone frequently carries thoughts of you, your presence begins to feel known and predictable to them. Because of this, conversations with you tend to flow easily. He may appear calm, relaxed, and completely normal on the surface, yet there is a quiet warmth in the way he engages with you. The interaction does not feel forced or overly formal. Instead, it feels natural, as if talking to you has become a comfortable part of his day. This comfort often appears in small ways. He may speak with a steady tone, listen without rushing, and respond in a thoughtful manner that shows he is genuinely present in the moment. When people feel mentally familiar with someone, they do not struggle to find the right words or worry too much about how they appear. The conversation simply moves forward with ease. This kind of relaxed interaction can be a strong signal that he has already spent time thinking about you and understanding how you communicate. Because your presence feels familiar in his mind, being around you feels easy rather than stressful. Over time, this sense of ease creates an atmosphere where both people feel comfortable expressing their thoughts. There is no pressure to impress or perform. Instead, the connection feels steady and balanced. When someone repeatedly thinks about another person, they become emotionally accustomed to that person's presence, even before they meet again. As a result, when the conversation happens, it carries a quiet sense of familiarity. The words come naturally, the pauses feel comfortable, and the interaction does not require effort. This type of calm connection may not look dramatic from the outside, but it often reveals something meaningful. When a person feels genuinely at ease around you again and again, it often means you have already become a familiar and welcome presence within their daily thoughts.